And a very good morning to you and welcome to the news. I am Iberi Ugonna. In the headlines this morning, Anambra state government reinstates determination to flush out illegal revenue collectors. Stakeholders call for proactive measures to tackle challenges of building collapse. Federal government declares state of emergency in public health. And on the foreign scene this morning, Zimbabwe to pay compensation to white farmers over eviction 20 years ago. And now details of the news. The Anambra state government has commended the new commissioner of police in the state, Mr. Mustafa Dandaura, for the arrest and quick prosecution of one Ikechukwu Udensi known as Ikanda, suspected of masterminding the killing of a 38-year-old businessman in Onitsha, Ndubisi last year. A statement signed by the State Commissioner for Information and Public Enlightenment, Mr. Sidon Adenoba, said the victim was allegedly killed for resisting an attempt by some criminals disguising as government revenue agents to extort money from a commercial motorcyclist. We have details.
According to the statement, Governor Willie Obiano has written to the police commissioner to express satisfaction at how police officers in Onitsha acted on a tip-off and arrested Udensi, who was in a secret location while waiting for his agents collecting revenues illegally to bring him money. It says the governor has carefully been studying the strategy which the Anambra State Police Command used to arrest this person, on whom the state government placed a 1 million naira bounty since last year, and impressed by the fact that immediately Ikechukwu Udensi was arrested, he was taken to court to avoid any possible legal loopholes through which Udensi escaped from the law. The statement reported the Information Commissioner stating that Governor Obiano believes that the arrests and quick prosecution of Udensi show that the new police commissioner in the state is here to work for the people, and has consequently brought into the state government development agenda with made security of life and property the first cardinal objective of the current administration. He stated that Chief Obiano believed that Udensi would have been caught long ago if he had remained in Anambra after Mr. Nwokolo's murder, noting that Udensi's arrest and subsequent prosecution showed that the time is up for those who collect illegal revenues and make life unbearable for the people.
Building collapse, stakeholders call for proactive measures to tackle quackery. The high rate of building collapse in the country is causing sleepless nights to the citizenry. In the special report, correspondent Emmanuel Okongo, who samples people's opinion on the development, now reports.
When a building not properly constructed, especially from the foundation level, are bound to show signs of crack, which could manifest in various ways that is not limited to caving in, but could also lead to collapse. Any type of building can collapse, but high-rise buildings appear more prone to that. This identifies the need for soil testing, usage of quality materials by builders, and consideration of the topography of an area before erecting any type of building to avoid collapse. Bearing his mind on the development, the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Oka Capital Territory Development Authority, Venerable Amecho Huosa, lamented the increasing rate of building collapse in the country, attributing it to poor maintenance culture by building owners and sharp practices by contractors. He called on builders to always seek approvals from the government before erecting any structure, as well as endeavor to stick to building plans.
Most people will not go and build exactly what they had in plan that was approved. You have instances where a story building was approved, and halfway they change their mind and put two-story building. The foundation is already for a story building, so that building is an accident waiting to happen.
Contributing, the Senior Special Assistant to the Governor on Political Matters, Dr. Vero Okechukwu, advocated stronger synergy between the government and persons involved in the building processes and called for stiffer penalties for half-baked engineers who risk people's lives for selfish gains. The Senior Special Assistant to the Governor on Power, Energy and Water Resources, Mr. Victor Meju, who observed that 95% of building collapse in Nigeria are caused by non-professionals in the building sector, condemned the actions of house owners who, because of financial involvements, employ quack engineers to handle their building projects.
The law will say you cannot keep something on nothing and allow it to stand. It will never stand. Surely it will collapse. The highest it can give is a period of time and it will collapse. And that's what we have existing.
On his part, the state chairman of the Nigeria Society of Engineers, Mr. Martin Abuli, who regretted the existence of non-professionals in building industry, said that the professional body will employ stiffer measures to ensure that quackery is flushed out from the profession.
The method of collapse in Anambra State, especially when it comes to building, we are trying to do something. We've already formed a committee which will look into this so that we will not continue to have that incessant building collapse in Anambra State.
In Oka, I am Emmanuel Okonkwo, reporting for ABS News.
People from all walks of life over the weekend converged at the Anglican Church of the Pentecost in Oka for activities to mark the Golden Jubilee wedding anniversary of a former Dean Church of Nigeria, former Archbishop of the defunct Province 2 and Bishop Emeritus of Oka Diocese, Most Revered Maxwell Anikwenwa, and his wife Blessing. The marriage anniversary church service presided over by the Anglican Bishop of Oka Diocese, Right Reverend Alexander Ibezim, attracted archbishops, bishops, clergymen, top government functionaries, the academia, traditional rulers, political elites, among others. We have details.
Most Reverend Anikwenwa, who was the pioneer bishop of Oka Diocese, initiated and ensured full licensing and certification of Paul University, Oka, by the federal government. In a sermon, the Archbishop of Enugu Ecclesiastical Province, Most Reverend Emmanuel Chukwuma, said that marriage needs perseverance, respect, good character, and tolerance for couples to build a godly home. Most Reverend Chukwuma described the celebrant as a powerful man of God who contributed immensely to the growth and development of Oka Diocese.
Shall a man leave his father and mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. And that is where the marital mathematics becomes sensible, that 1 + 1 = 1. That's why you have the answer.
Felicitating with the celebrant, Governor Willie Obiano, who was represented by a member of ABGA Board of Trustees, Elder Olushele Oyidiji, recalled that Archbishop Anikwenwa, when he was Dean, Church of Nigeria, worked for unity amongst all tribes, irrespective of party affiliations, and prayed God to enrich him with sound health and long life.
I pray that as he said before in the church, he spoke about unity. So I pray that in his own time, you will see that unity manifesting, firstly in the body of Christ throughout this country, for the benefit of our country. Secondly, you will see the unity manifesting in all areas of life to improve the masses.
In her speech, the celebrant, Most Reverend Anikwenwa, said that God's grace is the secret of his success, stating that he instituted Paul University as a sign of unity among Ndigbo. The son of the celebrant, Venerable Uche Anikwenwa, thanked God for his mercies upon his parents.
God will grant them more years with good health for them to enjoy themselves, and we will continue to support them.
Members of the Old Boys Association of Dennis Memorial Grammar School, Onitsha, were among those that attended the ceremony, which also featured prayers for the couple, thanksgiving, cutting of cake, and dance.
And away from that, Christians have been urged to always promote the cause of Blessed Virgin Mary, the Mother of Christ Jesus. The chaplain, Marian Society Oka Diocese, Reverend Father Macben Okeke, made this call during a Holy Mass to mark the launch of Heart of Mercy movie premiere at St. Patrick's Cathedral, Oka. Valentine Mbaduha has details.
Heart of Mercy movie premiere is an initiative of International Consecrated Marian Society, USA, whose objective is to propagate the good news through promotion of the cause of Blessed Virgin Mary. In a sermon during a Holy Mass to declare the event open, Reverend Father McBain Okeke, who cited the importance of mothers in life of individuals, called on Christians to acknowledge Blessed Virgin Mary as the Mother of God, especially those who do not believe in her, noting that her role in the salvation of mankind remains outstanding. He, however, called on those who already acknowledged her to emulate her lifestyle, call on her in difficult situations, as she will always intercede for mankind.
We believe she is now in the heaven, interceding for us, not only interceding for Catholic Christians. She's interceding for the whole humanity, not only Catholic Church or Catholic members. Therefore, the whole nation should call her blessed.
In their separate remarks, the organizers of the event, including the founder of the group, Mrs. Selina Mary Obaleke, and Mr. Greg Mary Ajide, while sharing their testimony on their encounter with Blessed Virgin Mary, called on all Christians to always honor Mary, adding that she remains the best and easiest way to get the attention of God.
I can say it's a privilege to know Mother Mary in a special way. Since I came to know Mother Mary in a special way, not that I didn't know her before, but I felt more aware of her presence in my life. So my life is possessed and controlled, really consumed by her presence.
My life today depends on her. She had interceded for me so much that the breath I take, the food, whatever about me is all about Mary.
On their part, a visiting priest from Enugu Diocese, Reverend Father Anthony Njom, as well as a serving priest in Oka Diocese, Reverend Father John Bosco Nkanyi Mo, while narrating their personal life experiences with Blessed Virgin Mary, commended the initiative and assured that the Church will not relent in providing the International Consecrated Marian Society, USA, with the necessary support to ensure that the message gets to the end of the world. Others who spoke at the event, including the Director of School of Theology, Oka, Monsignor Jerome Madueke, Sister Mary Trinitas Ume of the Immaculate Heart of Conception, and the Agwata Council Area Abga Chairman, Honorable Obiora Ezechukwu, appreciated the conveners of the program, praying God to grant them the strength to continue their good work. In Oka, Valentine Mbadowa reporting for ABS News.
Still to come in the news this morning, federal government declares state of emergency in public health. Another foreign in Zimbabwe to pay compensation to white farmers over eviction 20 years ago. The news returns in a moment. Please stay with us.
Here is a public service announcement. Anambra State government cancels collection of levies and fees in all markets in Anambra State. This is to inform the public that Anambra State government has cancelled the collection of all forms of levies and fees in markets and streets in Anambra State. The cancellation will be in effect until 1st June 2019. The 3-month cancellation period is to enable government and leadership of the various markets to deliberate and agree on a better and more effective model of collecting fees and levies in the markets. The public is hereby also reminded that the ban on sales of emblem is still in force. Anybody caught violating this cancellation and ban on sales of emblem will be arrested and prosecuted. This is for the attention of market unions and their leadership, traders, security agencies, and the public. Announcer, Mr. C. Don Adenoba, Honorable Commissioner for Information and Public Enlightenment.
Glad to have you back for the rest of the news. Moving on to our national stories. The National Primary Health Care Development Agency has declared a state of public health concern on maternal, newborn, and child deaths occurring at the primary health centers. Similar declaration is expected in states in the next few days to track maternal and child mortality. Nigeria has one of the worst records in maternal and child mortality in the world. It is recorded that in Nigeria, approximately 145 women under the age of 15, 40, 45 die from preventable causes related to pregnancy and childbirth, while 2,300 children under 5 years old die mainly from preventable causes. Consequently, the agency said it will establish a national coordination center within the agency to provide oversight on the outlined activities. The center, according to the executive director of the agency, Dr. Faisal Shuaib, shall be called the National Emergency Maternal and Child Health Intervention Center Nemchik. Non-business news this morning, the Minister of Finance, Mrs. Zainab Ahmed, and the Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, will join other economic experts from around the world to discuss issues affecting global economy in Washington, D.C., U.S. The 2019 spring meetings of the IMF and the World Bank is expected to bring together central bank governors, ministers of finance, parliamentarians, private sectors, executives, representatives from civil society organizations, and the academia. The experts will discuss issues of global concern, including the world economic outlook, poverty eradication, economic development, and aid effectiveness. On the foreign scene, Zimbabwe is to start paying compensation this year to thousands of white farmers who lost land under former President Robert Mugabe's land reform nearly 2 decades ago. The government said as it seeks to bring closure to a highly divisive issue. 2 decades ago, Mugabe's government carried out, at times, violent evictions of 4,500 white farmers and redistributed the land to around 300,000 black families, arguing it was redressing imbalances from the colonial era. But land reform still divides public opinion, as opponents see it as a partisan process that left the country struggling to feed itself. President Emerson Mnangagwa's government sees the paying of compensation to white farmers as key to mend ties with the West and set aside $17.5 million in this year's budget to that end. The initial payment will target those in financial distress, while full compensation will be paid later. And on sports news, 5 players of the Nigerian Under-17 team that helped the team lift the WAFOB Under-17 Championship in Niger Republic won't be part of the squad to the Under-17 African Cup of Nations as they failed to scale through the magnetic resonance imaging MRI test. The test is usually done to help know if the players are within limits for the tournament. No thanks to the menace of age cheats, which has seen some teams parade players that are older than the stipulated age range for the tournament. Top among the list is one of the best players in the Nigerian team in goalkeeper John Ikedinachukwu Ama, who had a near-perfect display at the WAFOB Championship, which Nigeria won on penalty kicks after drawing 1-1 with Ghana in the final. Also, the left and right fullbacks of the team, Mohamed Ibrahim and Babatunde Akinshola Jimo, were also knocked out by the scan, same as influential left-footed midfielder Hassan Hussein and striker Favor Akim. And that's it on the news at 7 this morning. Remember that you can follow news and programs on ABS from any part of the world by logging onto our website, www.absradiotv.com. Like us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/ABS Radio Television. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at ABS Radio TV. And just before we go, the main points again: Anambra State government has reinstated determination to flush out illegal revenue collectors. Stakeholders have called for proactive measures to tackle challenges of building collapse. Federal government has declared state of emergency and public health. And the foreign scene we brought to you that Zimbabwe to pay compensation to white farmers over eviction 20 years ago. And that's the size of our package this morning. Many thanks for joining the bulletin. I am Ebere Ugonna. Good morning, Anambra. Continue shortly. Please stay with us.